Have you ever felt like there's a part of you that you're afraid to face? A darker side, quietly pulling the strings behind your actions? What if this hidden self was actually shaping your life more than you realize? If you stay with us until the end of this video, you'll uncover a powerful secret, one that could change the way you see yourself and the world around you forever. Carl Jung once said, "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is." If an inferiority is conscious, one always has a chance to correct it. But if it is repressed and isolated from consciousness, it never gets corrected and is liable to burst forth suddenly in a moment of unawareness. At all counts, it forms an unconscious snag, thwarting our most well-meant intentions. Jung identified two kinds of shadow: the personal shadow, the unknown hidden parts of our personality, and the collective shadow, the repressed darkness in society itself. Let's begin with the personal shadow. Jung called it the thing a person has no wish to be. It's everything within us we'd rather not admit: impulses we judge, traits we hide, emotions we suppress. This shadow includes traits society considers weak, wrong, or even evil, so we deny them, bury them, pretend they're not part of us. But under stress, anger, or intoxication, the mask slips. You might suddenly say something cruel in a friendly conversation. You might feel irrational resentment towards someone confident or joyful. That's the shadow breaking through. When we refuse to acknowledge our shadow, it doesn't vanish, it grows more powerful. Without awareness, it operates autonomously, causing strange moods, irritability, or harmful behaviors. In Jungian therapy, recognizing the shadow is key to healing. The shadow isn't always negative. In fact, it can be a doorway to unrealized potential. Jung wrote that it displays a number of good qualities, such as normal instincts, appropriate reactions, realistic insights, creative impulses. Marie-Louise von Franz, Jung's collaborator, noted, "The shadow is not necessarily always an opponent. He is exactly like any human being with whom one has to get along, sometimes by giving in, sometimes by resisting, sometimes by giving love, whatever the situation requires. The shadow becomes hostile only when ignored or misunderstood. So within the shadow lie strengths and gifts we haven't integrated. If left unexplored, these aspects wither, and in their place, our personality feels diminished, imbalanced. Take assertiveness. If someone believes being assertive is rude, they might suppress confidence, stay silent, and miss out on opportunities. Over time, this leads to career stagnation, money struggles, or unfulfilled dreams. When they see someone embodying assertiveness, it may stir resentment and guilt, deepening the shadow even further. To heal, the ego must surrender its pride. Those traits we reject must be brought into awareness, not judged, not repressed, but assimilated. The shadow also visits us in dreams. Often it appears as a person of the same sex, an inner critic, a harsh voice that exposes uncomfortable truths. These dreams reflect the unconscious demanding to be heard. Facing the shadow is what Jung called shadow work. It is not a one-time event, but an ongoing inner journey. This involves honest self-observation, analyzing emotional reactions, and exploring dreams. It's a process that Jung likened to the labors of Hercules, a long, grueling, but ultimately heroic path. Through shadow work, we don't destroy the darkness, we bring light to it. As Jung wrote, "There is no light without shadow and no psychic wholeness without imperfection." True transformation doesn't come from perfection. It comes from wholeness, from embracing all that we are. This is the heart of individuation, the lifelong process of integrating the conscious with the unconscious, the ego with the self. It's not easy, but the truth liberates. Discernment is the essence of authenticity, digging through the unconscious, unearthing distortions, forgotten parts, and unseen strengths. Most people avoid this depth. They struggle to reflect even on their conscious behaviors, let alone confront the influence of the unconscious. But ignoring it doesn't make it disappear. Now let's talk about something even more vast, the collective shadow. Sometimes the darkness we confront doesn't come from within, but from the culture we live in. This is the collective shadow, society's hidden underside. It includes all that a society refuses to acknowledge: injustice, cruelty, prejudice, environmental destruction. The collective shadow is immense. It spans centuries of violence, oppression, and suffering. From war to genocide, from slavery to systemic injustice, it manifests in both obvious atrocities and subtle daily realities. We see it in the way certain groups are marginalized, in the denial of responsibility for past crimes, in the erasure of current pain. While it can explode in mass violence, it also hides behind more acceptable forms like cultural imperialism, linguistic mandates, or political manipulation. Just like the personal shadow, the collective shadow influences everything without being obvious. It shows up in social decay, poverty, crime, addiction, illness, cultural collapse. It also shows up internally in people who feel ashamed of their culture, angry at their heritage, hopeless about their identity. This is what has traditionally been called evil. In religious terms, it's the devil, an archetypal force of destruction. Jung warned that to confront evil, we must seek self-knowledge. We must understand our potential for both creation and destruction. He wrote, "One must know relentlessly how much good he can do and what crimes he is capable of." A society can be said to have a shadow issue when it collectively denies, projects, or avoids responsibility. Healing that requires both personal and collective courage. Each time we face our own darkness honestly, we lighten the burden for others. Our courage becomes collective strength. Responding to mass trauma, wars, genocides, systemic racism demands more than symbolic apologies. It requires deep integration of the truth at every level: political, cultural, and personal. But too often societies want to move on. That denial allows the shadow to grow stronger in silence. Healing begins with remembering, with telling the truth, even the parts that feel unspeakable. Real healing happens when both victims and perpetrators are allowed to speak, to be heard, and to take responsibility. It's a long, painful process, but it's the only one that works. Jung pointed to Nazi Germany as a terrifying example of mass shadow possession. Ordinary people, swept up by ideology, committed unspeakable crimes, actions they'd never have imagined outside that collective madness. That's why we must begin within. If we don't resolve our personal shadow, we risk feeding the collective one. And once we do our own inner work, we become capable of influencing society with clarity, empathy, and depth. As the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh once said, if we practice mindfulness, we will know how to look deeply into the nature of war, and with our insight, wake people up so that together we can avoid repeating the same horrors again and again. The war is in us, but it is also in everyone. Everything is ready to explode, and we are all co-responsible. So to summarize, first, confront your personal shadow. Be honest about your reactions, explore your dreams, reflect deeply. This saves you from becoming a victim of your own projections and liberates the good qualities hiding inside you. Next, turn your awareness outward. Recognize society's collective shadow. Don't deny it. Don't project it. Instead, take responsibility. Bear your piece of the darkness with courage so that others don't have to carry it for you. And here's the secret. Every time you bring your shadow to the light, you not only transform yourself, you shift the world. You interrupt the cycle. You stop history from repeating itself. Because wholeness begins with truth, and truth begins with you. If this message resonated with you, help spread the light. Like this video, subscribe to our channel Psychology of Happiness, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters more than you know.